July the 21st edition of the Carolina Weather Video. I'm meteorologist Matthew East here with you. We have certainly settled into this hot and humid pattern. We had a lot of mid-90s for highs yesterday across the region. I think we'll be up into that mid-90s range again today. We also had some pretty good thunderstorm activity, a number of wind damage reports yesterday across portions of our region. With a wave of thunderstorms that moved on through. In fact, the thunderstorm coverage was actually pretty good from the Triad over toward the Triangle regions and over toward northeastern North Carolina. A lot of wind damage reports in that corridor. And again, I think there'll be some thunderstorms around as today unfolds. Let me show you a look at the radar imagery this morning. This is, of course, during the 5 o'clock hour. And what's kind of got my attention is this area of showers and thunderstorms up here from parts of Kentucky into West Virginia. That is dropping off to the southeast, and that could again wind up clipping down toward the I-40 corridor as we get toward, say, mid and late afternoon. We'll see if that holds together and tries to enhance the thunderstorm activity a little later on today. Heat is going to be an issue. In fact, you have the coastal plain all the way from southeastern Virginia there around Norfolk down through Elizabeth City. The Outer Banks, Wilmington, Myrtle Beach, Charleston, Savannah, all those areas under a heat advisory for today. In those areas, heat index values will likely exceed 105 degrees. Here's the upper air chart this afternoon and this evening. 594 decameter ridge sitting over the southeastern part of the country. And look what happens by Friday evening. That ridge firmly established. In fact, I wanted to show you the European chart. This really shows the story pretty well. 597 ridging right over the Carolinas. So it's going to get really, really hot and steamy and stay really hot and steamy over the next several days. Now let's talk about today. This is the GFS output. Notice not a lot of precip, but it being indicated. I do think there's a chance of those afternoon thunderstorms popping up once again. It probably will be a day where the greatest coverage will again be the farther north you go in the region. Also notice here, bottom right-hand part of your screen, there's our little tropical disturbance. I'll give you a full rundown of the tropics here in just a second. Let's go out to tomorrow. Same deal. A few storms a possibility. Now, I say same deal. I think it'll be hot and humid, obviously, still, but the coverage of storms probably only isolated in nature tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. There's Friday, and the peak of this heat wave will be Friday and Saturday. Probably a lot of upper 90s for highs on those days. Now, the GFS does generate more thunderstorms on Saturday as it begins to get the influence of that tropical wave. I think the effects will probably wind up being a little south of our region, so I've only kept the isolated coverage of storms in for Saturday. But now Sunday and Monday, a different story. A weakening cold front drops in, so probably a little greater coverage of those thunderstorms Sunday and again on Monday. And it looks like the heat will be knocked back a bit, probably low 90s for highs as we get into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. There's Tuesday, again, some thunderstorms still a possibility, and probably lower 90s for highs Monday and Tuesday. All right, in the tropics, the National Hurricane Center has that tropical disturbance outlined in the high probability of development over the next 48 hours. That means the National Hurricane Center thinks there's a high chance that this becomes at least a tropical depression over the next 2 days. There's a satellite imagery this morning. There's been a decrease in the convection with that system over the past several hours, and there's really still no indication at all of a low-level circulation with this area. But I didn't put the spaghetti model chart on here. Should have done that. But the general consensus here is that this will head through the Bahamas, toward Florida, and into the northeastern Gulf. A couple outlying models take it off the southeast coast, but the general consensus is a track somewhere in this area, some models as far south as there. Now, in terms of some of the specific models here, I selected a few of them here. This is the Canadian, and it winds up taking this possible system to the Texas coast. Here is the GFDL. It brings the system as a tropical storm to South Florida and then to, say, near Pensacola or Mobile. And let's see, that's the GFDL. Here's the Hurricane Wharf. It takes the system towards South Florida, maybe as a weak tropical storm. And finally, the NOGAPS into the Gulf as this system evolves over the next several days. So the bottom line here is I think there's a pretty decent chance this winds up becoming a classified tropical system. If it becomes a tropical storm, the name will be Bonnie. That remains to be seen. Really, we need to see this thing sustain some convection and develop a circulation before it's too concerning. But interest in Florida, certainly the Bahamas and Florida, and maybe the southeast coast, but I think more likely the Gulf Coast. Need to keep a close eye on this next potential system. All right, that's it for today's edition of the video. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful Wednesday, and God bless.